Welcome back, children, to the concluding session of our chapter Nationalism in India. We have been going through a long journey with this chapter right from the beginning. That is, understanding the concept of nationalism, satyagraha, Gandhiji's experiment of satyagraha in the places like Champaran, Kheda, Ahmedabad. Then we have seen the consequences of the First World War faced by the people in our country. Then the Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh massacre, the Khilafat Committee formed by Ali brothers in Bombay, launching of the non-cooperation movement by Gandhiji, whether it was in the towns or in the countrysides, and so on. But due to some violent incidences that took place, Gandhiji had to call off the non-cooperation movement. Then, children, we have also come across with why, when, and how the Salt March was launched, which further led to the civil disobedience movement. In the previous video, we have seen how participants saw this civil disobedience movement and with their own notions towards Swaraj. Whatever the reasons were that led to the limitations of the civil disobedience movement, which led again to the call off of the civil disobedience movement. Therefore, when it was relaunched by Gandhiji, many of them were not interested to participate in the relaunched civil disobedience movement. Now, children, at the end, we will conclude the chapter with the topic, the sense of collective belongings. What does this exactly mean? That is what we have to see in this part of the chapter. Children, nationalism spreads when people begin to believe that they are the part of the same nation. When they discover some unity that binds them together. But how did the nation become a reality in the minds of the people? How did people belonging to the different communities, regions, or language groups develop a sense of unity? This sense of collective belonging came partly through the experiences of united struggles. That is, whether you belong to Bengal, Maharashtra, or Madras, or any other part of the country. But everyone had a same goal, and that was to get united and fight against the colonial government. And this united struggle developed a sense of collective belonging. Along with this, there were also a variety of cultural process through which nationalism captured people's imagination, like our history and fiction, folklore and songs, popular prints and symbols. All these factors played an important part in the making of nationalism. Efforts were made to bring people under one roof by using our past glorified history and fictions. Folklores and songs helped in bringing the people together. The identity of the nation, as you have studied in the past, that is in your first chapter, The Rise of Nationalism, is most often symbolized in a figure or an image like the allegory of Germania and Marion. Why? Why is it needed? Because it helps to create an image with which people can identify the nation. Similarly, it was in the 20th century. With the growth of nationalism, the identity of India came to be visualized, associated with the image of Bharat Mata. The figure of Bharat Mata was first created by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. It was an allegory of Bharat Mata, that is, just an imagination. Then, in 1870s, he wrote Vande Mataram as a hymn to the motherland, which was later included in his novel Anandamata, and also it was widely sung during the Swadeshi movement in Bengal. Like in 1905, Abanindranath Tagore painted his famous image of Bharat Mata. In this painting, Bharat Mata has been portrayed as an ascetic figure, that is, a calm, composed, divine, and spiritual. The painting's central figure holds multiple items associated with Indian culture and economy of India in the early 20th century. Like in one hand, if you see the figure, she is holding a book. On the other hand, she is holding sheaves of paddy. Then on the third hand, if you see, she is holding a white cloth. And then on the fourth hand, she is holding a garland. Moreover, children, the painting's central figure has four hands, evocative, that is, strong images of Hindu imagery, which equals multiple hands with immense power. The painting has been characterized as an attempt of humanization of Bharat Mata, where the mother is seeking liberalization or a freedom through her children. In subsequent year, the image of Bharat Mata was painted by different artists. Now the devotion to this mother figure came to be seen as an evidence of one's nationalism. Ideas of nationalism also developed through a movement to revive the Indian folklores. Like, for example, children in Maharashtra, we have Tamasha, Lamni, Povada, which are the folklores of a particular place. Similarly, every place has its own folklores and folk tales. In late 19th century, nationalists began to record the folk tales sung by the bards and also toured village to gather the folk songs and the legends. It was believed that these tales gave a true picture of traditional cultures, right, which were uncorrupted and undamaged cultures. But later on, it was corrupted and damaged by the outside forces, that is, the colonial rules who used to degrade the ancient Indian cultures, histories, etc. Similarly, do you know, children, Muhammad Ghazni, he invaded India 17 times, and that many times he attacked the Somnath temple. Do you know why? Only to take away the priceless, precious belongings of the temple. So, children, it was essential to preserve these folk traditions in order to discover one's national identity and restore a sense of pride in one's past. In Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore himself began collecting ballads, nursery rhymes, and myths and led the movement for folk revival. Children, can you see the images of some of the books here, like the Vedic stories, Gitanjali, and so on? The Vedic stories is the book which consists of the stories of mythological ideas, or we can say myth stories, which does not really exist, is just an imaginary stories. And his book Gitanjali, it is compiled with his songs and poetries. All these were collected for the folk revival. Similarly, in Madras, Natesha Sastri, he published a massive 4-volume collection of Tamil folk tales. The name of the volume is The Folklore of Southern India. This book consists of the folk tales of South India. He believed that the folklore was a national literature. That is, it depicts the different stories of a nation, the sacrifices of the people towards a nation. And according to him, it was the most trustworthy manifestation of people's real thoughts and characteristics. As the national movement developed, nationalist leaders became more and more aware of such icons and symbols in unifying people and inspiring in them a feeling of nationalism. During the Swadeshi movement in Bengal, a tricolor flag, that is red, green and yellow, was designed. It had 8 lotuses representing 8 provinces of British India and a crescent moon representing Hindus and the Muslims. After that, many flags were designed. But by 1921, Gandhiji had designed the Swaraj flag. It was a tricolor with red, green and white and a spinning wheel in the center. Children, can you see this particular flag? This was designed by Gandhiji, representing the Gandhian ideal of self-help, carrying the flag, holding it aloft during marches became a symbol of defiance. Now we will see why there was a need of reinterpretation of history. Children, another means of creating a feeling of nationalism was through interpretation of history. By the end of the 19th century, many Indians began feeling that to instill a sense of pride in the nation, Indian history had to be brought about differently because the British saw Indians as backward, primitive, incapable of governing themselves, and so on. In response to this, Indians began looking into the past to discover India's great achievements. Now, leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Rabindranath Tagore, and many other writers wrote about the glorious developments in ancient times when art and architecture, science and mathematics, religion and culture, law and philosophy, crafts and trades had flourished. According to them, this glorious period was followed by a history of decline when India was colonized. They urged the readers to take pride in India's great achievements in the past and struggle to change the miserable condition of people under the British rule. This was how the reinterpretation of the history was done to develop a sense of collective identity, a sense of collective belonging among the people. But these efforts to unify the people were not without the problems, because when the Hindu past was being glorified, when the images of Ma was celebrated and it was taken from the Hindu iconography, at the same time, people belonging to the other communities felt left out. Now, this was how a growing anger against the colonial government was to bring various groups and classes of Indians into a common struggle for freedom in the first half of the 20th century. The Congress, under the leadership of Gandhiji, tried to channel people's grievances into an organized movement for independence. Through such movements, the nationalists tried to forge a national unity. But we have seen that the diverse groups and classes participated in these movements with varied aspirations and expectations. The Congress continuously attempted to resolve the differences, ensured that the demands of one group did not alienate another. This was precisely why the unity within the movement often broke down. The Congress activity and nationalist unity were followed by phases of disunity and inner conflict between the groups. In other words, what was emerging was a nation with many voices wanting freedom from colonial rule. These two slides are the timelines of dates and the events that we have covered in our entire chapter. Please go through this timeline, as it is very important to remember the dates and the events, which will help you in your map locations also. Next, children, an activity which you have to do it. That is, you have to make a collage of some of the symbols of nationalism in India found today on a chart paper, either by sticking the pictures or by drawing the same. Then children, here I am sharing with you 2 links of map location. It is one of an important question which you will get it in your exam from this chapter. So please go through the links. It will help you in understanding the location of the events and the places on the outline of the Indian map. Read the chapter well, children, and understand the map locations also very well. Complete the activity. We will meet again in the next class with a new chapter. Till then, take good care of your health. Bye.